Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. 6 albums to go through as pretty much usual, so let's go through them as pretty much usual. We begin with a debut, a female-led musical project that isn't from the American Midwest but from LA. This is a person named Melody Cordell and her project Career Woman with the debut album Lighthouse. This is a lovely bit of indie rocky poppy stuff. I'm giving it an A minus? Yes, that is the grade I gave it, just making sure. Really charming stuff. Melody herself is a very disarming personality, comes across as quite honest, and like the writing feeling honest as well. There's okay, I couldn't find anything for themes, but I think it's supposed to be sort of about the awkwardness of still being in your 20s and the relationships that come with it, and it makes sense because Melody herself is just turned 20 earlier this year, I think, so relatable to a specific period of time. Works for me. I really like that. The production's really good as well. I think it was produced by Melody. I couldn't find anything on that. But it has a really nice organic feel and it makes it sound really fleshed out, and I like the vibe that it captures, not catchers, but that works too. Really good instrumentation, love how breezy it feels. Okay, that's what I say about the structure in my written review here, but it still works. The instrumentation is really fun, to be honest. I like the guitar work mostly, and there's just some really pleasant stuff going on. And, yeah, overall, solid pacing too. Could maybe it needed a little bit of padding here and there, but I did enjoy it ultimately. I found it just really fun and comfy and warm to listen to. That's probably the best descriptor I would give this album. It's just kind of comfy and nice to listen to. And for a debut, really good stuff, I would say. Next, we have a band named Holy Scum with their album All We Have Is Never. This is their second album. This is a sort of noise rock group that are from Manchester, New York. Up until looking this band up, I didn't know that there was a Manchester in New York. I sort of knew there was one in Connecticut, and I definitely knew there was one in England. I'm going to give this one a B. I thought it was pretty good for the most part. I will admit, the instrumentation, fucking great. I quite like how it fits the noise genre really nicely, very raw and heavy feel. I like how ethereal it is, and there's good experimentation with it as well. Guitar work especially stands out for that. I wish I got more out of the lyrics, though. The main theme, in accordance to the album's title, is the fact that nothing lasts forever, but instead of it being used to sort of like indicate the nihilism of death, it's used as a metaphor for rebirth, which is good because it's sort of positive lulls, but the writing doesn't really come across that way and it comes across a bit too grim. I feel like it's a bit weird in tone in terms of that. Speaking of tone, the production of this album is not good. I personally didn't like it. I thought it was too screechy and way too dense and actually hurt my ears a little bit. I can't deny that it fits the sound, but if you're going to listen to this one, I wouldn't recommend listening to it with headphones. I didn't listen to it with headphones, and it still hurt my ears when I listened to it. It's just mixed so like nails on a chalkboard. That sort of vibe. It for some reason most of it sounded like that. It wasn't completely off-putting, and again, it fits the sort of nature of this style of noise rock. But it took a while for me to really get used to it. Having said that, I thought the band were really good. Drummer John Perry probably does the best work in my opinion. I like his work on the kit. Really heavy, nice timing, especially the snare work. Good snare work, and pacing is pretty good as well. It can take a while to get used to how weird the sound feels. Like, this is not a standard noise rock album. I actually like that it experiments a little bit with it, but it's got a pretty good flow, and I kind of like that it gets weird. I wish it leaned more into the weird. So, yeah, overall, really solid stuff for a sort of still young band. I wish it were mixed a little bit better because it was done by the band's lead singer Mike Mare, or Mike Mary, I don't know, it's M-A-R-E. It's probably just Mare for all I know. But I wasn't super keen on the mixing of this, but pretty much everything else I quite enjoyed. Next, we have McKinley Dixon and his new album Magic Alive. Now, I quite liked McKinley Dixon's last album, Beloved Paradise Jazz. I quite like this one as well. I will give it an A. I don't think I like this quite as much as I liked Beloved Paradise Jazz. I feel like there was something that didn't fully click for me like that album did, but it's still really nicely produced, handled by two people named Sam. First is Sam Koff, the other is Sam E. Yamaha. They could be the same person, I don't know. I feel like maybe the album's a bit short. It is only just over 35 minutes long. Maybe there could have been a bit more added to the songs, but there's a really good vibe, and I like the jazzy elements mixed in with the beats as well. They're really good. McKinley himself has like tons of charisma and showcases that quite wonderfully, and I like that there's a concept on this one, which, bear with me, I promise it's wholesome. It's basically about three childhood friends who lives their fourth one, basically the plot of Without a Paddle, but like in a black neighborhood, essentially. But like instead in Without a Paddle, they try and like honor their friend's legacy by stealing money. In Magic Alive, the three friends try to sort of resurrect their fourth friend, and they go on like this journey of self-discovery along the way. And it's actually quite a wholesome tale, even as grim as it sounds. I promise it's actually quite nice and heartwarming in its own weird way. And also, I like it when rappers do really good concept albums. This is a good example of that. It's well produced, I've already gone over. But yeah, that's great. Good lyrics, good beats. You know, minor issues with the pacing, which I think is where this one falls apart a little bit for me, but it's still really good. Overall, just really enjoyable, and most importantly, quite a lot of fun. Like, I just felt a really fun vibe from this album. Next, we have our second and last debut of the video, a band from Birmingham in England, and not from Birmingham in Alabama. A band called Meteor Maker, and their debut album, Hallowed, which I'm giving a straight up C. This is a metalcore band, which you'd think I'd normally be excited for. Christian metalcore band, I don't mind a bit of Christian metalcore. The problem is, this band isn't just generic for a Christian metalcore band, they're generic for a fucking metalcore bands. Obviously, like, you know, the Christian tropes of, like, the lyricism all about, like, worshipping Jesus and the praise and stuff. Yeah, like, that's sort of what you would expect, but god damn, there's no nuance to it, and there's no subtlety. But, you know, I would excuse that if it were just the lyrics that are a problem. The pacing is not great. It's probably my least favourite thing about the album. It doesn't push anything new, but I'm detracting a point because the last song is a retold version of their breakthrough single. I can't remember the fucking name of it. I think it's like Risen King or something. Or in this album's case, Risen King Redux, but like, that's kind of lazy, so I'm docking a point for that. But overall, there's no flow to the album. It just feels very by the numbers. I don't hate the breakdowns, I guess, but even then with the instrumentation, it's pretty heavy, but it feels so single-minded in its approach, and not super huge on that. I don't mind the band. I think they do good. The drummer does a really solid job, and the singer is a good screamer, but his clean vocals are a bit too wavy and wobbly, and I think he needs to have a bit more confidence in those. But I still think he's a solid frontman. Maybe they get a second singer who can actually sing clean, unless the clean singer was a different band member, and the lead singer only did the screaming. But I think the lead singer did both cleans and dirties, for lack of a better term. So I don't know. Production, he does a decent job mixing the vocals, to be honest, but the instrumentation feels weirdly buried, especially with the guitar, which is weird because like when you can hear it as part of the instrumentation, it's got really good chugs and really strong like riff work, but in terms of the mix, you can barely fucking hear it sometimes. It feels so mushed up. I don't know, this, like, again, this is for a band from my neck of the woods making a debut metalcore album. Even if you take away the Christian label, this will still sound incredibly like anything you've heard before, so I'd maybe recommend skipping it, and hopefully the band can prove me wrong on their next one, because, you know, I'll always champion music from my country, but more specifically, I'll always champion music from my specific part of England, even though I'm not from Birmingham. But, yeah, kind of wanted anything to happen with this one. Needed work, to say the least. Next we have Orthodox with their new album A Door Left Open. Now, I completely missed their 2022 album. I think it came out in 2022. I could be wrong, obviously they'll be corrected. But, you know, so I've only got the album before that, which was titled Later Taker's Course, to compare this one to, and I much prefer Later Taker's Course, and I'm giving this one a B+. I think my main issue was that Later Taker's Course was a really interesting concept album about, like, going for vengeance against the people who've wronged you, but being careful that you don't turn into the monsters you're trying to beat, right? That is a good story. That's not really the thing here, because there is no concept of this one. But, you know, I'll take a band just having fun and putting out a heavy album for the sake of putting out a heavy album. The instrumentation is really solid. I like the crunch on the guitar work. It's matched nicely with some really heavy drumming that fits the sound. Again, like, there is lyrical themes here. Even though there isn't a concept, there is sort of themes of, like, dread and vulnerability. But you know, while decent in theory, in practice it just sounds too angry, especially with the writing. I'm not really a fan of how it played out, but, you know, again, the main theory of the theme interesting to me. The band is still really good as well. Singer Adam Easterling goes for a more gravelly and growly vocal style, and it was produced by Randy LaBeouf, so it's got that going for it. Really good mix. And even though it does have plenty of polish, it doesn't track from how raw the sound can feel. That's a really good and a delicate balance to strike. And Randy somehow always manages to get it because he's just that good. I do think the pacing is good as well. I actually quite like that there's a bit more nu metal added. I think that's something that they added to the previous album, but I don't know because I didn't listen to it and completely forgot it existed. I swear I could have sworn I reviewed it, but I double checked when I was reviewing this one in Discord, and apparently I completely missed it. That's on me. But that experimentation is nothing without a good core pace, and this album does have that mixed with its experimentation, so yeah, all in all, solid work. Didn't like it as much as I liked Let It Take Its Course, but, you know, I still liked it quite a bit, and it's nice to hear the band having a weird bit of fun with this. You know, if you just want some heavy, angry, headbanging metalcore, I recommend giving this one a spin if you just want that. And finally, the album that people have actually heard about, or at least shown vague interest in. We have Turnstile with their new album, Never Enough. Everyone knows Turnstile, everyone loves Turnstile, a good bit of hardcore punk, and in case I forgot to mention it, which I'm pretty sure I did forget to mention it, Orthodox is a sort of metalcore style band. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm just making sure I do now, so people don't get mad at me. But yeah, back to Turnstile with Never Enough. Give this one an E. I sort of had the same problem with this as I did with Orthodox and McKinley Dixon's new albums. I like them, not as much as I liked the previous works, though. Even though in the case of Orthodox, I did completely miss one. I did still quite enjoy this one, though. I felt like the production was really good, handled by lead singer Brendan Yates alongside Willie Yip and H.E. Cook. A really good mix, really nice layering to it, and I've always felt like Turnstile has always been one of the better produced hardcore bands in the modern era. So really good work there, and Willie Yip coming back after like the previous two albums. Like he didn't produce that last one, but he produced the one before that. So having him back to help, really cool. And I like Willie Yip more than most people seem to. Instrumentation fucking incredible. I love how hefty the guitar feels. But it's also the way the synth and bass are mixed in more that are really nice, and also drumming's great. Lyrics are really good, as I like the theme of trying to be fulfilled and also insignificant, and there's good writing to match the topics therein, like those themes as well as love and breakups, you know, sort of like fairly common things, but still really good stuff there. The band is still solid. Pat McCrory is an incredible guitarist. He probably stands out the much for me, but also probably stands out the most for me, not the much for me, but both work, I think. But the band is just having a ton of fun. I quite like it when a band sounds like they're having fun. And pacing also really good. There's nice experimentation with things, there's a good flow to the songs, and yeah, all in all, solid. I do think, though, sometimes that flow can stumble like a little bit, like a tad. There is a little bit of fat that needed to be trimmed. And maybe it needed a little bit, just a little bit more cohesion, right? But I think it's just all the stuff around it, as well as maybe the band's reputation, and the fact that everyone likes them as they should, because Turnstile are really good, that I think is what makes it stand out as much as it does. Again, I don't like this one as much as I liked Glow On, because Glow On felt special, especially as that was my first Turnstile album, but I mean, if you want proof as to why Turnstile are such a revered band in modern day hardcore, just listen to this. It's really good. Next favorite album cover and favorite song, I would give them both to this same album, that being Magic Life by McKinley Dixon. Favorite cover because I like how hand-drawn it feels. Well, it is probably. I mean, I know McKinley works with an actual artist for his previous album cover. I think they might be the same person here, I'm not sure. But yeah, I like how it looks like it fits the theme of the album because of like there being a ghosty body. I know, it looks really good. And my favourite song from the album is Where Outside Rejoice, which I would call a great culmination of the main story if it didn't happen like just past the halfway point of the album. It's a bit weird that it's not the last song, in my opinion, but, you know, still fun as it was, and as it is. And as for next week's listening list, we have The Bug Club with Very Human Features, Graham Hunt with A Timeless World Forever, Half Man Half Biscuit with All Asimov and No Fresh Air, Rat Hole with Proper Cunt Music, that's an incredible album title, Signieri with Signieri, and Token with I'm Not Supposed to Be Here. That'll about do it for me though. Next thing you'll see before will probably be the 2K25 draft. I still have so much work to do on the wrestlers I'm recreating, but I'm getting there with the ones I'm getting in from other people, which is really good. So I'll see you all probably on Sunday, absolutely, as for that, and maybe for more Yakuza Like a Dragon. in the time between, because, you know, I'm not going to be streaming my EFED tomorrow because we're taking a break because of Heat of the Moment being last week and all that. So, yeah, I'll see you all over the weekend for something. I'm not entirely sure what, but I'll see you for something. And as always, thank you for watching. You were awesome. Bye-bye.